Hmm. Hope everybody's doing well this morning. Um, I found a story in the big book that I wanted to read. I'm not gonna read the whole story. I'm gonna start in the middle because on page 325, where I'll stop, it has a line that I was told early on in my sobriety that I think is really important to a lot of people that are questioning whether or not they have a problem. It's from the story Student of Life. I'll start in the middle of the story on page 324. I picked up a half gallon of whiskey one day after work and drank over one third of it in less than 4 hours that same night. I was so sick the next day, but I made it to work. When I got home from work, I sat on my parents' sofa and I knew I would start working on that half gallon again, despite the fact that I was still very ill from the night before. I also knew that I did not want to drink. Sitting on that sofa, I realized that the old I can stop if I wanted to, I just don't want to didn't apply because I did not want to drink. I watched myself get up off the sofa and pour myself a drink. Did that many fucking times. Just like, why am I doing this? When I sat back down on the sofa, I started to cry. My denial had cracked. I believe I had hit that bottom that night, but I didn't know it then. I just thought I was insane. I proceeded to finish the half gallon. That's insanity. That's the insanity of this disease. 6 months later, my boss flew me to California for a trade show. I hated working the shows, but I loved to travel, so I went. I was extremely nervous about this trip because my boss liked to party. We find like fellows. And we were flying in a guy our age from Hawaii to work the show with us. At this point, I had managed to hold together 31 days without a drink. And I was terrified that I would give in to the temptation of being on an all expense paid trip in a fun city with two party animals. It had been very difficult for me to stay dry for 31 days. The obsession spoke to me every day, and it does. Over 11 years and it still talks to me, still tries its little tricks. I arrived late on a Friday night and managed not to drink that night. The next morning at the show, I was offered the gift that changed my life. Our Hawaiian sales rep seemed frustrated, thought he was disappointed that he hadn't managed to write an order for a couple he had just finished working with. I went over to console him. He said no, his mood had nothing to do with the couple. Instead, he explained that just this week he had lost his girlfriend, dropped out of school, lost his apartment, and also lost his full time job. He added, I'm an alcoholic. I've been sober for a year and a half, except I just drank again this past week. I am a mess about it. At that very instant, I heard one word in my head. The word was now. And I knew it meant say something now. To my amazement, I spoke the words, Mike, I think I'm one too. Mike's mood instantly changed. I recognized now it was hope. We started talking. Among other things, I told him I hadn't had a drink for about a month, but didn't go to AA. When he asked why I had avoided AA, I told him it was because I didn't think I had hit bottom. Somehow, he didn't laugh, but said, You hit bottom when you stop digging. He took me to my first of three AA meetings. That's on page 325 of the big book, current edition that I have anyway. So I read that because there's a lot of people out there that say, well, I haven't done this, I haven't done that, I haven't lost a job, I haven't gone to jail, I haven't had court dates, I haven't had DUIs, I haven't lost my family. And the thing is you don't have to follow this disease all the way, to the deepest depths of hell. You find your bottom when you stop digging. Put down the shovel. Damn, fire safe cigarettes. uh but that's it. You don't have to lose everything. You don't have to have the same experiences as somebody else in the program. Nobody's going to judge you. They have a term that's a high bottom drunk. That's what I consider myself. you know Even though I faced some prison time and some other things, I still consider myself pretty high bottom. Um, and it's it. I stopped digging. When I embarrassed my daughter, that was it for me, and I stopped digging. My hole was deep enough. I couldn't see the top of the hole at that point. Early in sobriety, I couldn't see the light. I couldn't see, what everybody else was looking at. Um, I never ever had that pink cloud experience in AA. There's a lot of people that do, and that's wonderful. For me personally, it was tooth and nail the whole time getting sober. And sometimes it's still tooth and nail maintaining sober. There's times that I'm 1 minute at a time with this thing. But the biggest point I was trying to get across is you don't have to have a massive bottom. You can raise the bottom up to meet you. When you have finally said, I've had enough, I can't do this anymore, I'm done. My life is unmanageable. That's your bottom. So, recognize it for what it is. So if you're struggling and you think I might be an addict, I might be an alcoholic, you know, get a hold of your local 12-step groups and just go check out some meetings. Sit in the back, don't say anything. It doesn't, you don't, it's not a requirement that you speak. It's not a requirement that you identify as anything. In a lot of meetings they ask the newcomers to share their name or whatever. You don't have to. You're not obligated, and they don't do that to embarrass you. They do that to welcome you. But I've seen meetings where people come in, sit in the back, they don't say anything, they just listen, and as soon as the meeting's adjourned, they out the door. And I pray for those people that that they make it back to the room. So the biggest thing is the I guess the message for today, the word of the day is bottom. You find your bottom when you stop digging. Put the shovel down, folks. If you think that you have a problem, you're in the right place. God bless. Have a great day.